the Dream 100 Show. The epicenter of influence, collaboration, and exponential growth. You're about to discover the power of relationships. Dream 100 relationships. And you're one relationship away from a totally different business and life. This is your host, Michael Tesner.
Is your marketing working? Is however much you're spending, and we're going to come back to that spend word in just a second, contributing to your bottom line? What's going on with marketing? In today's episode of the Dream 100 Show, I wanted to unpack a question that I got this morning, and one that over the last 20 plus years of my career that I feel like comes up every single week, and that is, how do I know that what you're doing is helping? And or how do you track what you're doing as helping me? So like, is it helping? How do you track it? And everywhere in between. It's an interesting question, and it's one that I'm going to put my marketing agency hat on, and I'm also going to put my different business owner hats on as well, and bounce between both and kind of give you a good holistic view. Now, before I go down that rabbit hole and kind of dig into the different layers and pieces, I need to start with a couple of mindset pieces, mindset shifts. Number one, if you are using the word spend as marketing and with marketing, you've already lost the game. If you do not understand that marketing is an investment, marketing is the thing that pays off dividends month after month, year after year, if you are always looking for the holes, looking for those, that didn't work, that $400 on Facebook didn't do anything, let's just shut it off, you've already lost, and you're never going to win. Period. Number two, marketing is the single most important function in business. It's the engine behind every single thing else. Plain and simple. The end on that one is well. If you don't understand either of those, you say, well, Michael, no, my product is the most important. Great. So take wherever you're at. How are you going to grow? Well, it's your marketing. How do you start selling your first initial products? Marketing and sales. You're not just going to magically grow. And maybe you wind up on Shark Tank. Well, you're going to have some good data to get on that show anyways. And I would argue that the entire show is a marketing show anyways. Being on TV, those products get a huge pop, the Shark Tank effect, the first 24 hours of that episode airing. 100% marketing. You open up a new restaurant. Great. You could say, well, our food is the most important thing. If no one knows where you are, if no one comes in to try your food, you're going to wind up like half the plus restaurants that close their doors in year one. I just had some amazing, I believe it's pronounced pho. Sometimes I say pho, but I think it's pho. I was the only person in that restaurant for 90 minutes during peak lunch hour. Only person. Some of the best food I've ever had. I doubt they've ever invested a penny in marketing. There's no way that they stay in existence. There's just no way. So before we pivot over to how do you track this stuff, you need to understand those fundamentals. Until you shift your mind, until you get on board with, I understand marketing is an investment, and marketing is the single most important function in business where I need to be focusing, none of this other stuff matters, and you will constantly be questioning everything. Somebody asked me the other day, can you give me some examples of clients that didn't work out with you? Like clients that weren't a success. And I have plenty of those. I have plenty of much, much more on the success side, but I started unpacking some of those. And when you really look at it, it's more often than not, the person on the other side just cannot get the whole spend versus investment thing. And then the other stuff that we're going to talk about in just a minute, they just can't wrap their mind around it. So once you start doubting something, it's already over. There's no point in trying to convince, and I've been there way too many times, to like, here's the data in black and white, and now it still doesn't seem like it's doing anything. So that's the first piece. Now, how can you actually track it and know that what you're doing, what you're investing, is actually helping? So the first thing is I need you to have tracking stuff everywhere and anywhere that you possibly can. Tracking phone numbers, tracking software. If you're an e-commerce business, there's a great tool called Hyros that takes tracking to another level. But you need to be tracking everything that you're doing from a marketing standpoint. If you've got a retail location, you're doing direct mail, there needs to be special coupon codes, promo codes that are just for that direct mail. If you're doing paid traffic and things like that, you need to have those certain phone numbers and drive them to landing pages. So you need to develop all of your tracking stuff from the ground up. You need to have your Google Analytics locked and loaded so you can see the data. If you have a local listing on Google, you want to be getting all that data and getting all of your benchmark data. The tracking stuff is step one. And the beautiful thing with marketing is that this stuff is trackable. We can see how many clicks you're getting and visits to your website, how many people fill out a form fill. There's a lot of that great stuff that can be tracked. We can track to see how many people from your email marketing end up going to your website and buying something. We can analyze all of that data in lots and lots of different ways, but your step one is getting all the proper tracking in place. A lot of times someone will say, can you take a look at this and tell me what's working? And I'll log into their Google Analytics account, for example, and they don't have certain parameters set up that say like Facebook ad or Google ad. And like, hey, I don't know if this stuff is working. So there's a lot of that 101 stuff that to me needs to be set up in step one. Step two is very, very different. And this is where I'm either going to lose you for the remaining portion of this episode, or you're going to dig in and be like, I get it, I see it, I completely understand what he's saying. I want you to zoom out. And I want you to take your business, and then I want you to just pause for a minute and list out your numbers for the last couple of years. What was your revenue last year? We're not going to talk profit at this stage. But what was your revenue? Line number one. Line number two, what did you invest in marketing? So great, let's say 1.2 million, and you took my advice, you were aggressive, and you invested $10,000 a month. So 10%. Great number, solid marketing budget. So great. 2025, 1.2, 10%, 120,000. Where were you in 2024? How much did you invest in marketing? 2023, put whatever data that you have. And I'm simplifying this out because if you start to overcomplicate it again, you're going to get in your head and you're going to look for excuses as to why this isn't working. Business owners love to sniff out where they can cut costs, where they can cut something because they think that's the way that you get rich. It's the exact opposite. I have never met a widely successful entrepreneur that is going through and spending their days and their weeks cutting things. It's not how you grow. You grow by investing more time and money in marketing and or through acquisitions. Plain and simple. So I want you to just get a holistic view of, okay, great. And ideally you have a little bit of data, not just a couple of months, but let's just start to unpack it. And then I want you to maybe write a few other notes next to the year of, okay, so let's say that 2024 you invested $6,000 a month in marketing and you were at $800,000. Okay, great. So put some notes. So I'm hoping that this starts to paint a story that as your marketing budget has grown, your ad spend is kind of grown a little bit with that budget, and then it's reflected in your revenue. But you need to make sure that you're not just completely oversimplifying it to where, well, we lost our biggest account last year, so actually the marketing really ended up doing a lot more because we had to make up another $500,000 in revenue, for example. But I need some numbers and a little bit of a story to go with this. What I'm finding entrepreneurs do is they get so in the weeds and they say, well, I threw $400 at Facebook, or Michael, I tried the Dream 100 for a month. I sent out $3,000 in gifts. Nobody came on my podcast. Nobody purchased. It didn't work. Like a fine wine, marketing gets better with age and repetition. This stuff cannot be looked at completely black and white. Yes, I need you to have your tracking elements. I want you to have your analytics and your cookies so that you can track all of this stuff. But I need you to zoom out a little bit and start to look at the overall business. I need to look at some other things to start to see, well, what else is marketing doing? Every single month, marketing is not going to drive the same return on ad spend, for example. And unfortunately, we've stopped playing the long game and we're playing the short game. One of the businesses that I work with, they have drastically cut their advertising budgets by like 50%. Even after all the data shows that without anything else we're going to talk about, that the return on ad spend was great. It was a solid return on ad spend, also called ROAS. But what ends up happening is when you start to cut in those areas and when you laser in on something just so specifically, you don't realize that marketing is also driving your reputation. Marketing is driving, it's that brand voice. It's helping drive the brand recall. It's helping with your current customers. It's helping with referrals. It's helping in all these other areas that your blinders are on and you're thinking that, well, if I invest $10,000 and this doesn't drive me $100,000 in revenue, it's just worthless. Didn't do anything, didn't work, cut it. But that's why I need you to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. If a rising tide is lifting all boats, are you growing or not? That is how I start to simplify it. If I'm continuing to invest in marketing, I'm looking at the tracking and the data is showing good things. Now, are all marketing agencies created equal? Definitely not. Definitely not. But what I'm trying to encourage you through this episode is to stop lasering in so specifically on one thing and saying, well, let's cut that off and stop that. Because what now has happened with this account, where they scaled back their budgets, well, not only did that channel start to nosedive, they started to see it with their sales team. And they couldn't figure it out and say, well, why are the calls that the salespeople are getting, the inbound calls, why are those going down? Well, what they didn't realize, again, was that all of this marketing that's being done, it's lifting everything else. The customers are seeing this stuff for repeat orders and such. And if all of a sudden you're only advertising 25% of the time, now they're seeing you 1 in 4 times and they used to see you 4 out of 4 times. And they would constantly be seeing that. So you need to zoom out and you need to make sure that if I'm recapping this episode, number 1, you've got your mindset dialed in. Marketing is an investment. Marketing is the most important thing that you can do at your business to grow. If you don't have money and time for marketing, you literally should not be in business. Like it makes no sense to just try and hang on. Because what if you double what you were doing? Well, what if it doesn't work? Well, what did I just share with you during this episode? If you can play the long game and then dial in your tracking metrics, looking at the brand lift, the referrals, your reputation online, if you're going to community events, all this marketing lifts up all these other efforts. And ultimately, it should be lifting up your revenue during the course of the year. The same strategy with the Dream 100 of playing the long game, your marketing needs to play the long game. And that is how you start to tell if it's working. If year over year you're investing more and your revenue is dipping, then you know something's not working. Maybe it's a retention issue. There's other numbers to dive into, but if it's driving you new revenue and referrals and things like that, you've got to understand that hyper-focusing on one area and then saying, oh, cut it, stop it. It's not the way that you grow. It's not the way you grow. As always, Michael Sazra signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'll see you next week.